Madagascar. And no, not the movie. We're talking about the game today. Madagascar for the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox, which is better than you probably think. I know a lot of movie tie-in games from the early 2000s vary widely from horrible to decent, but there are a few out there that are pretty juicy, like our subject today. This game released back in 2005 for the GameCube, original Xbox, PlayStation 2, and also had handheld versions as well for the Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS. One of the more interesting facts about the game is that the console versions like the PlayStation 2 and Xbox were made by Toys for Bob, and the handheld versions were made by Vicarious Visions, which are both still very successful developers, with Toys for Bob being the ones behind the Spyro Reignited trilogy and all the Skylander stuff, and Vicarious Visions made the Crash remaster but has unfortunately been consumed and merged by the monster known as Blizzard. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Madagascar for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox, a game that I only recognize because I played it as a toddler, but I want to check it out and see if it still holds up today. This game was crafted by people that knew how to make a game, even using good ass voice talent. So good I thought some of the characters were voiced by their actual TV actors. We got big names in this game like Phil Lamar, who is Samurai Jack, and Wally Wingate, who has voiced a ton of characters you probably recognize, as well as Alex in this game, and even D. Bradley Baker, who you may know as every single fucking clone trooper, and he plays Mort in this game. And there are many more talented voice actors involved in this. I honestly almost prefer this over the movie, to be honest. But I mean, other than the movie looking 1,000 times better, this game pretty much follows the same story but with a little bit more added to it for a more compelling level design, because they were definitely trying to scrounge up for whatever levels they can, coming out with a whopping 11. That's the biggest gripe this game usually gets, pretty much just being short. But if that's the worst thing about something, then that's not too bad in my book. The game pretty much starts where you'd imagine, being in the zoo starting as Marty. But this level is pretty much giving you a tutorial with all the characters because you're going to be playing sections throughout this entire game. First playing as Alex, who acts as the main attacker slash platformer, using his double jumps to collect rings and defending your tower from birds and children. Then you play as Gloria, who just looks phenomenal in this game, I might add, using her in a race against some ostriches while she eats hot peppers and rolls around in the filthy mud. Then you get a weird little fishing section with the penguins where you collect fish and rob people. And then finishing off with Melvin crash spinning into birds and smearing their shit everywhere. I'd say it's a good intro level to this game, but then we get to level 2, the Night Zoo, which another thing I love about this game is how each level has a whole different vibe and atmosphere. This, of course, is the stealth level, where you go around the zoo trying to break out, caving in the skull of any night guard unfortunate enough to be on duty tonight. There's also a secret arcade game you can find here, which is one of the 3 different ones you can find in the whole game, and they really aren't bad. They're all basic arcade games, like this one that's pretty much Galaga, or there's a tank game and also a 3D airship game. They're pretty fun, and if you have this game, I challenge you to go and challenge my fucking high score. I dare you. Those aren't the only things you can find in these levels though. You can find up to 100 monkey coins spread out across the map, and health capsules that jump around everywhere, and some other things depending on the character, like Alex can jump through hoops and shit. I don't know what they give you if you get all of them in a level, but they're pretty satisfying to jump through. The coins are the main things though, which you can use to buy at the monkey shop to get things like extra mini games, more lives, or cosmetics like the slutty little bikini I got from my homegirl Gloria. Well anyways, after the stealth level, you pretty much get to the better level, the city level, which is on some GTA type shit with all these cops running around trying to kill you, cars trying to run you over, and some homeless people just trying to spread some Christmas cheer.
Oh no!
This level has you play as everyone except Marty. First with a section where you jump around and fight cops with Alex. Then you run around avoiding cars like Frogger and destroying the city with Gloria's rambunctious ass. Then fucking flying around the streets with Melvin, cause I guess that's what giraffes do. This of course leads to them all getting drugged and going on a boat, which is the setting for level 4, but you don't play as any of them this time around. This is the only level besides the fishing minigame where you don't play as any of them and play as the penguins instead. You pretty much scoot around and murder the entire crew and proceed to listen to a military horn for 10 minutes.
Let's roll. Double time.
This level did have some cool parts though, like where you throw bowling balls into sailors' kneecaps and waddle around in a box like Solid Snake, and even had some fun shooting sections where you proceed to shoot a bunch of horse tranquilizers into the skulls of men. But this is where the game starts really getting fun with the 5th level, when you finally make it to the title of the game. From here on out, all the levels take place in a jungle or a beach, but each level still feels very distinct, which I love to see. The 5th level is an Alex Central level where you run through the jungle trying to find the rest of the characters while jumping over toxic flowers, fighting a bunch of spiders on tree limbs, which used to scare the donkey shit out of me as a kid, and doing this frustrating challenge that involves keeping mushrooms away from cockroaches. But this is just one of the few frustrating challenges, most of which come in the next level. This level is about saving those little shithead lemurs. The first half of the level is you play as Marty, where you gotta save them from strong gusts of wind that turn on and turn off every few seconds. Which on its own isn't too bad, but the wind is very sensitive. There was times where only Marty's ass was out from the cover like an inch, and it blows you all the way fucking back to the start. And there are 2 sections like this you gotta do back to back.
Help us, help us.
And then after you get through all that bullshit, you got another Alex section. But this time it's a fucking escort mission where you gotta protect 8 lemurs from a horde of Fusa running out the woods like zombies from Left 4 Dead. Honestly, might be my least favorite level in the game, but at least it leads into one of the best. Level 7 was one of my favorite levels as a kid, as well as another later level that's similar to it. These 2 levels are very different from the rest of the game in being that they aren't linear with a point A to point B, but more of a small open world where you can switch between each character at these tiki statues, using all their abilities when you want to run around and collect 10 objects. In this case, you gotta help the lemurs satisfy their munchies by collecting all the food for their party, and most of these things are collected through little mini games you need to do with certain characters, like smashing cockroaches with Melvin's skull.
No, get away from my fucking nut!
No! Competing against a frog in a jumping competition with Marty.
These jumps are all the same distance away!
Using Alex in a memorizing mushroom game, as well as saving these delicious beets from these giant spiders from the ceiling.
Come on, dude. You don't know how to play Madagascar, dude. Fucking speedrunning it, dude.
Or this one that I had for some reason struggled horribly with, using Gloria to charge through melons like an NFL linebacker, all for a greasy fat fucking pig that wants to clap your juicy hippo cheeks. I have an almost unreasonable amount of hate for this hog. He's a game original character named Wilbur, and he shows up a lot. But these sections where you can choose your character and play mini games were my favorite as a child, and I still enjoy them today. But after that banger of a level, we get another more linear level, one I have definitely changed my opinion on now playing it through again. I used to not like this level that much as a kid because of the never-ending swarm of these nasty fucking worms made me feel stinky. And the ending part of the level where you gotta run from and avoid a murderous Alex used to scare the cum out of me. But now I like these sections a lot more. I wouldn't call anything in this game hard, but this section definitely starts to ramp up the difficulty. This level is almost entirely Melvin-centric, other than one section with Gloria where you gotta try and murder as many helpless moles as you can in a short amount of time. But Melvin's gameplay is more fun. It's more of like a shooting gallery. The idea is you gotta save the lemur's origin tree from parasitic worms that have formed big pus bubble hives all on it. So as Melvin, you have to use your long ass neck like a fucking catapult to hurl stones straight into their hives. And the hives continue to spit out worms, so you gotta do it quick because whatever worms are left on the ground when you're finished, you're gonna have to fight. And you also have to be precise because if you fail to hit all the hives on target quick enough, they begin to regenerate. And to top it off, birds begin to fly directly at you, so you have to gauge when you need to hit the birds or keep throwing shots at the hives. This game is nothing groundbreaking, but is a lot more thought-provoking than the usual protect things from being eaten by creatures, which I kind of just noticed happens a lot playing through this game again. And to top it off, the sound design is on point. Hitting those filthy worm pus bubbles sounds satisfying as hell, and I don't know what it is about the noises the worms make, but they did a perfect job because I want to kill all of them.
What? Oh!
The next part is okay, but not as good. It's another catapult launcher mission, but instead of firing at a vertical wall like a dartboard, it's tossing them on a horizontal one like cornhole. This time, instead of tossing coconuts at them though, you're delivering full-on airstrikes with durian bombs, wiping them out, and then afterwards you go down there after you've bombed their homes and then wipe out all the rest of the survivors. Pretty ruthless of you, Melvin, but I gotta admit, it's still pretty fun.
Worms, this place is never to be clean. Melvin, you did it! You're our hero!
But after that, you get the Gloria genocide mission, and then you cut back to Melvin trying to save Mort from getting absolutely ripped apart by Alex, and then you conclude this level. This then leads to my favorite level as a kid, level 9, back at the beach. This is another run around and collect things level, but this time you're gathering parts to make a Statue of Liberty shaped beacon to get off the island. This time though, instead of having access to all 4 characters, Alex is left out because of his crimes. Playing through this again, I noticed this time around, a lot of the objects are just hidden around the map instead of playing minigames for them. Looking back, there are only like 3 actual minigames out of 10 objects. 4 if you count the game where you just squash 5 crabs with Gloria's fat ass, but I don't really count that one because it's easy and fast as hell. The first real minigame you play, you gotta use Marty to donkey kick a bunch of turtles that are zooming around a tree that warthog dude wants you to protect. Then you gotta help the fucker destroy some boxes washing around the beach. And then the big one, which is probably the single thing that made this level fun to me as a kid, is the crocodile fight, which is one of the only 2 boss fights in this entire game.
Is that ridiculous accent real?
It's not a bad one either. You gotta use Marty to fight 2 basic crocodiles first, with 2 health each. And they're pretty fucking easy because all you gotta do is avoid their spins until they tire out and then you run up and donkey kick them in the teeth. But after the second croc goes down, you gotta fight the boss, the albino. He's a little more difficult with a whopping health of 5, but he also does a little more. He can jump at you from across the map from anywhere, and he does different attacks you gotta avoid, but it's more or less the same. You wait till he tires and proceed to kick his teeth in about 5 times. Playing through this level again kind of disappointed me, to be honest, because I used to think this level was the best in the game, but in all honesty it isn't. The croc fight is the only thing that keeps it up. Ironically, this level leads into the level I disliked the most as a kid, but may have switched places with it now. The 10th level is pretty much entirely a time level where you gotta run through the darkest part of the jungle as Marty with Mort to get to Alex. The first section you gotta run through is an obstacle course that includes poisonous flowers, giant spiders, webs and roots that block your path, and giant chasms you don't want to fall into. And you gotta do this before your time runs out. Then you get to the section with a bunch of spiders in a room that doesn't look at all like the rest of the level, and you can pretty much tell this area was solely made for padding with just this one line.
Boy, how'd you get all the way over there? We were literally just standing right next to each other.
Oh, the plot calls for it. Don't come apart on me now, Marty. All you have to do is cross this treacherous spider cave area by yourself, and we can move on to the next area.
Whatever happened to synergy?
And after all that, you run to this piece of shit Wilbur the Hog again. Why is he here? I don't know. But he wants you to get him some food. Who would have fucking thought? But at least I like that this game added some stuff that wasn't in the movie. But this man could have solved the whole plot. Just feed this fat pig to Alex, honestly. He's done nothing except tell you to do shit for him and try and get him food and then try to bang Gloria. Just feed him to the lion and everyone's happy, just saying. But this section is kind of interesting. It's the only section in the game where you play as Mort for a little bit, but all you do is jump around and catch fruit, and avoid horrifyingly getting devoured by spiders.
Oh no! No!
Then you get to the last section of this level where you run into the albino croc again, who murders Mort. Then you gotta race him to the way out while sliding down the river. It's an alright segment, but nothing out of the ordinary, with holes and boost pads littering the track. I enjoy this level way more now than when I was a kid, mostly because it's the most thought-provoking level and challenge to this game. But after you finish that, you go into the final level of the game, which is a 3-phase boss fight with a character that was not in the movies that just goes by the Fusa leader, who I will call Chifusa in this game. You start out as Alex in this section and play through the entire level as him. But before you start the actual fight, the penguins come in to give you power cards, to give you a new ability, which has been a thing in this game I have not talked about until just now. But this is the best ability by far. You can finally use Alex's claws. This entire time, all you could do was scream at bad guys as Alex, but now you can finally rage on them. It just sucks that you can only use this ability on this level, and there's no going back to older levels with new abilities, so this is pretty much it. But you get to use your claws to fight a bunch of Fusa, which acts as the first stage of the fight. Then after that, you get the first round with Chief Fusa, where you gotta hop around a pit collecting mangoes and throwing them at him, all the while dodging his toxic Mandarin breath and avoiding his kamikaze vultures. And then, after that, you fight him one-on-one with your claws, but you can only hurt him after he gets exhausted or when he laughs and when he fucks you up. And it's honestly not a bad boss battle, and I enjoy playing it again, but the sad part is, that's it. After you beat this level, there's nothing else. No replaying old levels with new abilities, no challenge mode, or just no in-game, at least with the main story and levels. There are, however, mini-games, which me and my brother would play a ton of as kids. These mini-games are purchasable in the Monkey Store and pretty good for what they are. There's a shuffleboard mini-game, Guitar Hero-like mini-game, and my personal favorite, mini-golf. I sank probably most of my hours in this game as a kid on the mini-golf. The holes are made pretty well and the physics are pretty smooth for what it is. And not to mention the fucking music. This music fucking slaps, and there's no reason why it was made this good. I mean, just listen to it for a little bit. That's another thing, a lot of the music in this game is just nut-inducing. I would have put way more in this video, but the agencies would probably be after me. This game is honestly a work of art. The music, sound design, voice cast, level design, the atmosphere, all of it should have led to it being more memorable to the gaming world. Only thing that really held it back, I would say, was just how short it was. And I know there's a sequel out there too, made by the same developers, so I'll definitely probably check that out in the future. Well, anyway guys, these are the types of videos I'm going to try to focus on from here on. I love playing classic games, and it's something I'm willing to put effort into even if the videos don't get many views. If there's an old game out there that you'd like to get covered, comment it below. But preferably comment PlayStation 2 and original Xbox games, because that's what I'm mainly trying to cover right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you stay to watch my future videos. Have a nasty good night. Peace out.
Damn, that bitch got a fat ass, dude. Damn, that bitch got a fat ass. Oh my god. Take it off, dude.